A few doctors walked in, and that was a life-changing moment. It was, we need to go ahead and prep you for surgery, and your daughter's not going to be alive when we pull her out.
Well, I want you to tell us your story as it relates to Archway of Hope. Kind of begins with the story of your daughter, Reese.
Yes.
And why don't you tell us as much as you want to about your journey with Reese?
I would love to. I have had the ability to share my story throughout the 20 years since she's passed away with a lot of people. But today is extra special because this really is the first time that someone has asked me to personally come and share my daughter's story and what her legacy has meant to not only me and so many people in Central Texas. And it's just, I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm super excited, honored, and emotional to be able to do this. So Reese Alexandra Gray, my beautiful daughter, second child, was born February 4th, 2006. It wouldn't feel right if I kind of didn't go back to how all this started and the power of her spirit. Um, I was living the American dream. I had a son and was living in Cedar Park, Texas, and then got pregnant when he was 15 months old. Found out I was having a baby girl. And, I don't know, back then, I'm 50 now, I just was over the moon, had the ability to just really feel grateful about that. But, around 5 months, something wasn't feeling right. I ended up going into labor, was rushed to St. David's Medical Center, which had a very small NICU at that time in 2006. Kind of did all the things that people do to stop the contractions and all that. But the sonographer came in, and I come from a health background, and heard the heartbeat. And I thought to myself, it's okay, 30 weekers make it, it'll be okay. And then, don't know time frame, a few doctors walked in, and that was a life-changing moment. It was, we need to go ahead and prep you for surgery, and your daughter's not going to be alive when we pull her out. And I had roughly, I go back maybe 7 minutes. Her dad went into another room to get his scrubs on. And just this mother instinct, I called my mother and I said, Mom, Reese, she's not going to be alive when they pull her out. And I get off the phone with her, and something in me, and this is the point where I think Reese's purpose and in life kind of just was significant, is that I had a best friend and went through a pretty rough time. When I was 16, my parents got divorced after 27 years, and I did I was a rebel, and she was my best friend. And in that course of time, I was a cheerleader through high school, so I'd go over to her house, stay at her house, and her dad was gone quite a bit. All I knew is that her dad took care of babies that were really sick. That's all I knew. And so what I did after I got off the phone with my mom is I called my best friend, Julie. And I said, Julie, Reese isn't going to make it. And she says, Tara, I need you to hang up. I'm hanging up the phone with you. She calls her dad, Dr. Donald Knoll, who I did not know, but he's one of the most well-known neonatologists in the United States. And he made a phone call to St. David's NICU and talked to Reese's assigned neonatologist and basically told him that in order to keep Reese alive, probably ask a lot of medical questions. These are the things you need to do. And because the NICU was so small, that was a really big risk. So what was wrong with her is that she was so full of fluid that there was no other room for her to breathe or anything. So there was a machine that they had there that actually Dr. Knoll invented. Come to find out that he tested it on monkeys, and it's called a high frequency ventilator that still keeps babies alive to this day. And they had one there at the NICU, and David Breed, her neonatologist, that I'm still family friends with today, utilized that machine and his team to keep her alive, and she made it. They did emergency C-section, did not see her. Once I was able to see her, she was in an incubator, and about 3 days in, her dad and I were looking over her incubator with Dr. Breed, and I looked over to him and I said, I just wish we had something we could just poke her with. He looked at me and said, you want to try? If this was at Dell Children's, if this was somewhere else, she would have never made it. So that was another God thing. And so he got an 18 gauge catheter and he stuck it in her scalp. And within seconds, her stats started going up. Go through some time realizing what she was losing was like albumin, fresh frozen plasma, things that are so critical that we don't realize keep us alive. So we had to figure out how to put that back in her. So for 6 months that she was alive, doctors would visit her in and outside of the country. She was stayed at that NICU. She was written up in the medical journals. We did a lot of unorthodox methods to keep her alive throughout the course of her 6 months, and I would love to share a few significant stories. The ways that she expressed herself and exuded into people. Be patient, find the gift in small things, make sure you hold on to the ones you love, find happiness. The list goes on, and the ways that she did that were extraordinary, and even to this day. And so that's why I'm super honored here to share the rest of her story.
A lot of people, when they've gone through something like you have, a life-changing loss, there's a fear that their joy will never return. Did you have that fear, and do you have a memory of when some of your joy started returning? And was that even your experience, either way?
I don't know about joy. I do know that after she did pass away, I had to stop with my mom and my husband at the time, and we had to get some things to gather her belongings, and got the stuff, and I was sitting in the back seat where my mom was driving, and I was just looking out the window, and I don't want to say joy, but this was just the start of something that gave me a spark of, I don't know, and it happens all the time. Maybe I take the time out to be patient and watch for it, but she speaks to me all the time. And I looked over and I just said, man, this is the first time she ain't gonna be there, you know? It just was, and I look up and I didn't know even, maybe I was oblivious that there were Reese hitch trailers, but I literally look up and even my mom was driving right there and I saw it and it just said, you know, like it said Reese right there. And I just, I don't know. It just gave me this sense of, and then that just kept happening a lot, you know, and then Candlelight Ranch fell into my life. And then I had a son I knew I had to still take care of. But heck yeah, there were moments where, I don't know, you know, if I knew I was like, going to experience it again, yes, there were, for sure.
Yeah.
And how I got through those, I don't know, you know. But I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Has this experience changed your perspective on life and what things matter and what things don't?
Oh, I would say that's one of the most profound things that I am reminded every day of, that still, that's why people probably call me the Energizer Bunny. You know, I mean, the things that it has taught me that are important, it's caring for people, serving, um, doing things that bring you peace and joy, finding faith in something that bigger than yourself, whatever that is. That's all I know. That probably has been one of the most life-saving changes. It's taken time to grow, but it's become something that is so foundational to me. Having the ability to continuously want to help bring joy into other people's lives unselfishly.
In my life, I wish I had that perspective every day, but it gets lost in the rhythm of life for me.
For sure.
I mean, it's
Yes. You know, and I have the ability to, what I do professionally is also tied into also my personal life. And so I've been very blessed to continuously be able to channel my grief. That has been such a major foundation to be able to also instill those types of values to my kids in this day and age, what they're exposed to. And it's given me, it makes me feel very proud as a mother to be able to exude those qualities, and I take those as gifts.
Well, that's one of the things we discuss a lot with people that are trying to help grieving people is that, hey, if you're trying to think of something to say that's going to solve everything, just be quiet and be there. Just be present.
A lot of people want to do anything to numb it.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't? Like,
Right.
so grief can lead down a lot of dark paths, but it doesn't have to last forever. There's always a way out.
Right.
Always a way out.
I like that.
There is. Yeah.
That's
I found a way.
I think that's probably the most profound thing you've said so far. There's always a way out. Because I can imagine that might be the last thought somebody has when they're in the early stages of this.
Yep.
Like, I'm done. I can't do this. For anybody watching, I will tell them that anybody that gets within 5 feet of you can feel your spirit, your resilience, your passion. When you drove up and got out of the car, I went, "Oh, she's a go-getter."
I love it.
You know?
Aw,
Yeah, I could tell that.
I just, the whole way here, I was like, I just want to make her proud. Yeah, bring people inspiration and hope. But this is another healing step for me. You know, like this is very special and intimate healing moment for me. So, thank you.